Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Hyzenthlay, and I'm back with a new series that I'm calling Hyzenthlay's Guide to Advance of Zeta. In it, I hope to shed more light on the story of Elliot Hunter and the mobile suits of the TR plan. Hyzenthlay, what is AOZ? What is the TR plan, I hear you ask? Well, I'd be happy to explain to you, dear viewer. Advance of Zeta, the Flag of Titans, is a photo novel and manga series released exclusively in Japan from 2002 to 2008. The 6-volume photo novel was written by Bin Kano and serialized in Dengeki Hobby magazine, while the 4-volume manga was published in Dengeki Daioh and illustrated by Tatsu Mizuki. Set in UC 0084, it is a prequel to the 1985 TV series Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. The series focuses on members of the Titans Test Team, a group tasked with evaluating new prototype mobile suits. The series received several sequels, the most recent of which, Advance of Zeta Reboot Gundam Inlay, is currently ongoing. Now, the TR plan was a plan devised and implemented by said Titans in UC 0084. The ultimate goal of this plan was to develop a decisive battle weapon codenamed Inlay. However, the Inlay itself was a mobile weapon of an obscenely large scale and equally complex structure. Development was only possible by dividing the main attributes of the weapon and conducting operational tests for each of these components using different mobile suits. The mobile suits developed in this plan are called the TRs, and they were developed based on pre-existing units, for the most part. They would also double as prototypes for the next generation of mass production mobile suits. There are 6 total TRs. TRs 1 through 5, the test models as I like to call them, and then the TR6s, the complete models. Today, we go over the TR-1s. The TR-1 served as the test unit for the Central Control mobile suit and its docking capabilities. There are quite a few variations, so this video is bound to be long. With that said, no more dilly-dallying. Let's begin. Alright, so first we have the RX-121 Gundam TR-1 Hazel. The Hazel was a live combat test machine assigned to veteran pilot Wes Murphy. Based upon the Jim Quell, it was equipped with a Gundam-type head in order to test the psychological effectiveness against Zeon remnants. Its skirt armor was fitted with energy pack holders stored on each side skirt. The Hazel's most distinct piece of equipment was the shield booster, which contained propellant tanks and a single thruster with an output of 22,000 kilograms. This device was a further evolution of the Sturm boosters used by earlier mobile suits like the Gundam Gerbera and the Gerbera Tetra. Unlike its ancestors, the shield booster was still usable as a shield even after the propellant was spent. The Hazel's assault form was equipped with 1 shield booster on each arm, 1 double E-cap beam rifle in each hand, and a beam saber stored on the back. The full armor form donned the Gundam NT-1 Alex's Cho-Bomb armor. It bore 1 shield booster and 1 double E-cap beam rifle, and then the high mobility form used 3 of the shield boosters, 1 on each arm, and 1 on the back-mounted movable booster pod. The Gundam TR-1 Hazel, it has a very striking color scheme of various blues, a very nice orangey yellow, and bits of white here and there. Even the aforementioned shield boosters are in this color scheme, and so are the beam rifles, which of course is what sets it apart. Pretty much every part of this Hazel is flying the Black Otter's color scheme, and I think that makes it very, very, very cool. Personally, when it comes to personal opinions, of course, you know I have a lot of great things to say about this mobile suit. I love it. I love the way it looks. I love the colors. I love the proportions. It's the standard normal Hazel proportions that look great. and not those stupid, chunky, high-grade Master Grade Hazel proportions. I actually haven't had the Master Grade Hazel, so it might feel a bit better in hand than the high grade does, but this looks great. I think it's an amazing mobile suit, and I think you might like it as well. Now, on to the next one. Now, here we have the RX-1212 Gundam TR-1 Hazel 2 Early Type. Yes, I said early type. There is an early type. The RX-1212 Gundam TR-1 Hazel 2 Early Type was a RGM-79Q Jim Quell Hazel Reserve unit stationed aboard the Aswan, the mothership for the Titans test team. It was mainly just for spare parts, but of course, as time went on and the grips were started to unfold, it was given the Tri-Booster unit. The Tri-Booster unit was a backpack meant for high-speed assault operations. The plan, of course, was to test it with the original Hazel, but of course, there was stuff going on, so they needed another Hazel. So they gave the Tri-Booster to the Hazel 2, so the Tri-Booster served as the Hazel 2's main thrusters. The propulsion unit was made up of 2 universal thruster units and, of course, a central long stern booster. The direction of the universal thrusters could be changed freely thanks to the articulated frame that was connecting them to the backpack. This technology, that frame, would later provide the foundation for the movable frame system used in the Mark II. Unlike previous stern boosters, the central booster part used in the Tri-Booster unit was freely movable, enabling it to be used for AMBAC maneuvering. Traces of this technology could be seen in tail stabilizers used in later machines like the Zeta Gundam and the Zeta Pluses, and of course the XS Gundam. So, in terms of their defining features, the TR-1 Gundam Hazel 2 Early Type is a different color from the later Hazel 2, the good one, the better one. And as you might notice, the Early Type looks a lot like the high grade. I'm assuming that at some point within Bandai Hobby, Bandai Namco Holdings, whatever they were called at the time, there was some kind of misnomer or something happened, and for some reason, the early type was just called the Hazel 2. I know why they did the early type instead of the normal Hazel 2, because they couldn't do the pinstriping. I don't know why they called it the Hazel 2 instead of the early type, because that is most certainly not the Hazel 2. Once again, my personal opinion, it's fine, I guess. I don't know. It's the chunky proportions. Maybe if it was in the proper proportions, like its successor, I might have liked it a bit more. The high grade kind of sucked. One, because it's, you know, a pretty old high grade, and the high grade Hazels had a pattern of pissing me off. I just don't like the Hazel 2 Early Type. It's not as good as the actual Hazel 2. It's fine, I guess. It's there. As I said, it might just be the chunky proportions that are throwing me off here. The Hazel does not look good chunky. It looks gross. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I don't like that he doesn't have the Mohawk sensor. I don't like that he's only like 2 or 3 colors on the main body. I don't like the fact that his feet are purple, or dark purple instead of orange. I don't like the fact that he's not the normal Hazel 2, basically. I don't like the fact that he's him, and I just don't like the fact that he exists. And personally, I would like it if he didn't, because he only serves to further drag down the Hazel 2 and the units that are based off of it by being a stain on its lineage. So, yeah, that is the RX-1212 Gundam TR-1 Hazel 2 Early Type. Personally, it can go kick rocks. I don't really care about it. Moving on, we have the Divine Perfection, that is the RX-1212 Gundam TR-1 Hazel 2. Now, this is the Hazel 2 early type, but way better. And I'm pretty sure it's literally only the colors and the mohawk. But that's enough of my personal opinion. The RX-1212 Gundam TR-1 Hazel 2 was given a new color scheme when it formally entered service as Elliard Hunter's machine. Its head was also equipped with an enhanced sensor unit like that of the original RX-121 Gundam TR-1 Hazel. From this point on, the Tri-Boost unit became standard equipment for the Hazel 2. Like the original Hazel, the Hazel 2 could be configured into a full armor form with, once again, the chest and waist units of the NT1 Alexis Chill Bomb armor. Although Wes Murphy concluded that this armor was too heavy for the original Hazel, the Hazel 2 could overcome this handicap because it had the high output thrusters of the Tri-Booster to compensate. The double shield boosters were also enough to compensate as well. Similarly to the original Hazel, the defining features are the colors, really. It has the Tri-Booster and, of course, the sensor mohawk. It just gives it that extra splash of color it really needed. I think that those extra bits of white are what really makes this color scheme pop. The Gym Type Cs that are in this color scheme, they look good, but not nearly as good as the Hazel and the Hazel 2. As for my personal opinions, the Hazel 2, it's the cooler, better design to it. Of course, it doesn't get a model kit, doesn't get anything. It just gets to remain a drawing for the rest of its life, sadly. But that's enough gunpla nihilism. We have another Hazel. So, now we have the RX-1211 Gundam TR-1 Hazel Custom. After Wes Murphy's RX-121 Gundam TR-1 Hazel was heavily damaged in combat with Xeon remnants, it was repaired and improved using RGM-79 Jim Quell parts and, of course, spare Hazel parts stored aboard the Aswan. The repaired RX-1211 Gundam TR-1 Hazel Custom reflected the combat data and development know-how gathered by the testing of the original Hazel. The machine's enhancement parts, which previously seemed like an afterthought in the original Hazel, were better balanced with the other parts and the machine's internal structure to make it a more complete mobile suit. As a result, its external appearance had a more unified feel. Its lighter weight and increased thruster output gave it a roughly 10% greater acceleration. A 360-degree panoramic monitor and linear seat were installed in its cockpit, and its operating systems were also upgraded. Because the Hazel's unique shield boosters were lost in the previous battle, the Hazel Custom was equipped with a normal type shield used by the Jim Quell, Jim Command, and other mobile suits of the time. The loss of the shield boosters admittedly reduced the Hazel Custom's mobility, but its overall performance increase was enough to make up for this. However, there was still a high mobility form. There's actually two versions. There's one with 2 shield boosters and one with 3. Unlike the original Hazel's high mobility form, this one only seemed to have 1 beam rifle. However, it seemed to have some kind of dedicated waist-mounted pouch for storing it. Of course, its main defining feature is the new color scheme and some of the new armor pieces. It has new armor on the chest and crotch area. It has the tricolors color scheme, this time a bit more reminiscent of the Gundam Mark II. As for my personal opinions, it's a Hazel. I have nothing bad to say about it, really. You know, it's you know, I like the proportions seen here in the original illustration. Of course, as you know, I dislike the high-grade proportions in every way. They're not good proportions, but these are just fine. These are just fine. So that's pretty much sums up my feelings about the Hazel Custom. It's just fine. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing super good, but nothing really bad. It's a fine mobile suit, and I kind of like it, but that's because it's a Hazel. Oh boy, next we have one of the shorter entries, probably the shortest entry in this video. We have the RX-1211 Gundam TR-1 Hazel Custom Sniper Type. The Hazel Custom Sniper Type was a variation of the Hazel Custom armed with a long blade rifle, a shield booster, and an enhanced visor with a mono-eye sensor inside. I mean, I kind of like it. He's fine enough, I guess, but I feel a bit less indifferent to him than the standard Hazel custom, but still pretty indifferent. I mean, it's a cool variant. I like him. Maybe if he had like a shield on his arm as well, I would have liked him a bit more, and he would have gave me a bit more of a cooler vibe. But you know what? He's a fine variant. Yeah, so that's the Hazel custom sniper type. Nothing more to it, I guess. Now for a more interesting variation. We have the RX-1211 Gundam TR-1 Hazel Custom Icarus unit. Okay, so the Icarus unit was optional equipment for the RX-1211 Gundam TR-1 Hazel Custom. It was based on the concept of unassisted mobile suit flight under gravity. This system achieved flight through brute force, thanks to powerful thermonuclear jet engines attached to its lower body, and thermonuclear rocket engines in its shoulders. The Icarus unit's shoulder parts could swivel forward about 90 degrees, and they had option latches for attaching weapons, shields, and subarms. The wing-like devices in the shoulder parts functioned as attitude stabilizers during flight. The waist parts contained a supplemental generator, similar to that used in the Hazel Customs movable booster pod, albeit somewhat larger. In the early stages of the aerial combat unit's development project, the plan was to equip the Icarus unit with aerodynamic wing units, achieving flight through a combination of thruster, power, and lift, similar to conventional planes. In mobile suit form, its aerodynamic characteristics, however, were extremely poor, and it was determined that it would have been unable to move freely in 3 dimensions. Thus, the unit's specifications were changed to the current concept of achieving flight through high thrust. Now, I probably won't have to tell you or point out what this mobile suit's defining feature is. You can see it, but I guess if you're listening to this in the background, the defining feature of the Hazel Icarus unit is this massive, giant, essentially armored poncho it's wearing. It's kind of like, I suppose, a prehistoric Cassie Gundam. It has just these giant armored thruster bits on the shoulders with massive, highly armored chest armor and some like waist armor. There's just a bunch of thrusters all over the place. Thrusters and exhaust vents. It's pretty cool looking, honestly. I like it. There is a version with Virulent arms, so that's pretty cool. Speaking of the Virulent, this would actually influence the development of the Virulent. So, without Advance of Zeta, you would not have had the Virulent, I'm just saying. As for like my personal opinions on it, it's fine. I mean, like, it's not exactly my favorite. Like, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's more interesting, especially when compared to the previous unit, but it's not exactly my favorite. I guess, you know, because I like bulky add-on armor, but not exactly in this fashion. The legs are kind of left unchanged, and that kind of messes with me. The arms, they kind of give off a bit of a vestigial vibe, which I also don't exactly like. So, you know, I definitely like the Virulent version more. Especially this version made by a modeler on the Drum Frame Society Discord. Yeah, overall, the Icarus unit is pretty cool. It's nowhere near as bad as the Hazel 2 early type. That one's probably like my least favorite out of like every Hazel variation. Yeah, that was the Icarus unit. Well, on to one of my favorites, contender for top really, and that would be the RX-1212A Gundam TR-1 Advanced Hazel. The RX-1212A Gundam TR-1 Advanced Hazel is a remodeled Hazel 2 with a high-performance optical sensor unit installed on its head and supplemental thrusters to its feet. The tri-booster unit was replaced with a multi-connector pod that could be outfitted with 2 shield boosters to increase its performance. The testing of this new booster pod was originally meant to be conducted with the RMS-117 Garibaldi Beta High Mobility Unit. However, the Garibaldi Beta High Mobility Unit was lost when its pilot, Maxim Gunner, defected to the AU. The tests were thus performed with the Hazel II, and the results were reflected in the advanced Hazel. The new booster pod forewent the generator and thruster components of its predecessor, in favor of hardpoints for the shield boosters and an optional propellant tank. Meanwhile, the new enhanced shield booster had 10 diffused beam guns installed on its surface, which increased the mobile suit's defensive capabilities. However, the shield booster's propellant capacity was reduced, giving it lower performance as a booster. The subarm unit contained secondary arms that folded into what seemed like additional skirt armor. It was adopted after its successful testing with the Hazel Custom. All of the collected data of the previous option parts were used in the creation of the advanced Hazel, which at the time was considered the perfected form of the Hazel. Now for my personal opinions. And, well, I made it quite clear that the advanced Hazel is one of my favorite Hazel variants. I really like it. From the scanning visor to the subarms to the double shield boosters, it's definitely a standout unit amongst the Hazels, and I love me a high-heeled mobile suit. It's such a good design. I really like it. The advanced Hazel is definitely near the top when it comes to my favorite mobile suits. There are actually several different versions of the advanced Hazel. The high-grade version, which is pretty much all in blue, save for the subarm unit, the scanning visor, and the enhanced shield booster that is on the right side, I believe. Yeah, it's not as good. For one, because of those god-awful high-grade proportions, and for two, because, I don't know, this is not fashionable in asymmetry at all. It is just not. He's not doing it well at all. It doesn't look good. It definitely brings the advanced Hazel down, but the true version, the line art version, the real version, saves it. It brings it right back up, and luckily, the Master Grade, which I am Master Grade Master Race, by the way, the Master Grade does take from this design. That is definitely a good thing. This is definitely one of the best TR-1 designs. Don't get me wrong, Hyzenthlay is still king, but Advanced Hazel comes close. Now, on to the next mobile suit. And boy, is it a mouthful. This is the RX-1211 plus FFX-29A Gundam TR-1 Hazel Ra. The Hazel Ra was a configuration of the Gundam TR-1 Hazel Custom, equipped with the Fruitidu. The FFX-29A G-Parts Fruitidu was a support craft developed for high-speed maneuvers. Now, unlike the previous option parts for the Hazel, the Fruitidu itself could function as an independent support machine, and it was also equipped with a cockpit that could accommodate a single pilot. As the name G-Parts indicated, the Fruitidu was similar in concept to the G-Fighter, a support craft developed for the RX-78-2 Gundam during the One-Year War. However, it could not perform the same kind of mid-air docking and conversion as the G-Fighter, so when it came time for a sortie, a choice had to be made whether or not to dock it to the Hazel Custom or launch it separately as a support machine. As an independent support unit, the Fruitidu itself functions like a fighter, and it could be further enhanced by combining two of them together. When attached to the Hazel Custom, the Fruitidu functions as supplemental thrusters, its wing units aiding in AMBAC maneuvering, allowing them to act as high-mobility binder units, similar to the Hyakushiki. The addition of the Fruitidu to the Hazel Custom's arsenal raised its performance to that of a second-generation mobile suit. When equipped with the Fruitidu, the Hazel Custom's dual ECAP beam rifle becomes the Long Blade Rifle, a rifle that can be deployed in both long-range and melee combat. Now on to my personal opinion regarding the Hazel Ra. Now, it's probably one of my favorite variants, but it has a caveat that keeps it from being on the level of the Advanced Hazel and the Hyzenthlay. and that is its improper depiction in almost every piece of media that it appears in almost every medium that it makes an appearance in, without fail. And that is the way that the jaw section of the Fruitadoo's right-wing binder unit opens. Now, alright, recording Hyzenthlay, let me just stop you right there. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it is I, editing Hyzenthlay, to cut off this long rambling session and just give you the gist of it. The Fruitadoo's right jaw pod opens up and down. I like that better than the normal way that is done in pretty much every piece of media and every model kit, every figure, which is it opening like a hinge, like a real jaw, like a person's jaw. I don't really like that, and I want to do it the correct way myself one day. That's it. And something I'll talk about in detail at the end of this video. But that's the Hazel Ra and the Fruitadoo. Now on to the next unit. So next we have the RX-121-1 plus FF-X29A x 2 Gundam TR-1 Hazel Ra second form. The Gundam TR-1 Hazel Ra second form was an advanced Hazel equipped with two FF-X29A Fruitadoo units. The Fruitadoo, developed as a set of option parts for the Hazel Custom, was designed to connect to not only its backpack, but also the hardpoint on the waist section. This form was equipped with two wing thruster units on the backpack for propulsion, and two claw wing units on the waist to carry weapons. Thus, the machine's operating efficiency was raised to its limit. The Fruitadoo's nose sensor unit was used as a connector for two shield boosters, making it possible to use two shield boosters on a single arm. My personal opinion of them is basically my opinion of the Hazel Ra and Fruitadoo doubled, given that that's basically what the Fruitadoo and Hazel Ra second forms are. The Fruitadoo and Hazel Ra doubled. So, yes, I love this unit, but it's disappointing because I really like this thing, but it's still a very nice unit and I can admire the line art. So there's that. Next unit again, which of course is another Hazel Ra. Don't worry, it's the last one. Okay, so now we have what is, for the time being, the last Hazel Ra. The RX-1211 plus FF-X29A x 2 Gundam TR-1 Hazel Ra cruising form / booster equipped. This configuration of the Hazel Ra second form was equipped with the tail booster used by the ORX-005 Goplant. It was capable of achieving tremendous thrust and was often called the cruising form due to its emphasis on acceleration rather than general purpose combat capability as a mobile suit. With the long cruising range and powerful acceleration provided by the tail booster, the Hazel Ra cruising form could use its acceleration to carry out independent hit-and-run attacks deep into enemy territory and over ranges that would normally be done by large, expensive, and clunky mobile armors. Right, now onto my personal opinions regarding the Hazel Ra cruising form. I mean, what more is there to say? Hazel Ra, Japod this, inaccuracy that. I mean, it's a cool variant. I like it. But the fact that it'll just never look right out of the box, it just saps all the energy out of me. And I'm starting to get really, really sick of it. Because I'm realizing that every single Hazel that exists in kit form has something wrong with it. But that's a different story. The Hazel Ra cruising form itself, without anything else to tear it down, is a fine variation and a fine addition to the TR-1s. It looks very cool. I love the line art. It's beautiful looking, and I love it. I just wish it was properly depicted for once. For now, we are finally out of Fruitadoo hell with the RX-1212P Gundam TR-1 Hazel Osla. The Hazel Osla was a version of the advanced Hazel equipped with the Primrose Emergency Escape Pod. Now, the MPX-86T Emergency Escape Pod Primrose was developed in order to increase the survival and recovery rates of pilots and mobile suit data without reducing the Hazel's performance. But because the Primrose replaced almost the entire chest and torso area, this version was called the Hazel Osla to distinguish it from the standard Hazel. Since the Primrose was designed for the same high extensibility as the other Hazels, the Hazel Osla could support even more optional weapons and extra equipment to adapt to different combat situations. Like the Primrose, the Hazel Osla could be equipped with a wide variety of optional weapons, including the subarm unit, optical sensor unit, heal thrusters, tri-booster unit, the multi-connector pod, shield boosters, the Hrudadus 1 and 2, and the Psycho Gundam's arms. Standard configurations of the Hazel Osla carried a long blade rifle and could also use the Primrose's winch cannons and missile pods as built-in weapons. Alright, now onto my personal opinions, and you might want to sit for this. This might come as a big shock to all of you. I've got nothing to bitch about for this Hazel. Absolutely nothing. No complaints. This is a fine Hazel that even looks good in those gross high grade proportions. It looks just fine. The Hazel Osla, the torso is, well, not exactly much taller, is thinner, which gives off the illusion of tallness and thus fixes the torso proportions, by extension making the legs not look that bad. It's a fine, perfectly serviceable Hazel with nothing to complain about, and there are plenty of different equipment options so that it's not exactly very boring. Not a single bad thing to say about it, quite honestly, and it's very refreshing. Especially right now when I've been working on this for so long and I'm just so tired. It's so nice to have a Hazel that you just kind of like, and there's nothing to really complain about with it. It just looks good, there's a lot that you can do with it, and it's fun. So, that's the Osla. Now onto the Hyzenthlay. Alright, then we have the king of the Hazels, the RX-1213C Gundam TR-1 Hyzenthlay. The Hyzenthlay was a machine plan in which the know-how obtained from the RX-124 Gundam TR-6 Woundward was fed back into the RX-121 Gundam TR-1 Hazel. As a result, virtually all of the Jim Quell parts that remained in the Hazel were replaced by enhanced Gundam parts. Because it used the unmodified upper body of the Gundam TR-6 Hyzenthlay 2, its head, chest, and shoulders were very different in shape from other Hazels. The TR-6's components were actually installed directly on top of the Hazel Osla's torso, and the head and chest of the Osla were visible underneath the new enhancement parts. The TR-6's booster was connected to the movable booster pod used by the original Hazels. Finally, the chest and arms of the base TR-6 mobile suit were attached to the waist of the Hyzenthlay as a subarm unit. Alright, now onto my personal opinion, which I've made very clear beforehand. The Hyzenthlay is the king of the Hazels. Hands down, no one can convince me otherwise. The Hyzenthlay is the king of the Hazels. In every depiction in which I have like sentient mobile suits and whatnot, Hyzenthlay always leads the Hazels. I will sing its praises in terms of TR-1s till the end of my days. The Hyzenthlay is the king of the Hazels. The best variant, hands down, my favorite, highest performance, save for the actual final variant. It's amazing. What can I say? It's great. It takes all of the good parts from every Hazel before it, and it amplifies it. Ultimately, we were bound to have a extremely good unit, one that was very well designed, just amazing in every single way, no detractors, no bad parts, physically cannot be ruined, no matter what colors you apply to it, no matter what proportions you apply to it, it will always look amazing. I will always defend it. It's just that good. It's the king of the hazels, and it's the king of the hazels for a reason. Now, on to the next unit. Alright, we are now on the RX-1213C plus FFX39A x 2 Gundam TR-1 Hyzenthlay Ra 2. Okay, I'm going to be really upfront here. I'm using the Gundam Wiki as a source, but, in my defense, there was nothing on Mach regarding this unit. Absolutely nothing. Mach HQ was dry. Completely dry. There was nothing on this unit. So take everything I'm about to say about this mobile suit, its performance, and any technological aspects, anything lore-wise, with a grain of salt, alright? Now that I have an impenetrable shield against criticism, the TR-1 Hyzenthlay Ra 2 is a combat form of the Hyzenthlay that resembles the Gundam TR-1 Hazel Ra second form. It consists of the Hyzenthlay and two FFX39A G-Parts Fruity 2 units. The FFX29A G-Parts Fruity 2 is the successor to the earlier FFX29A G-Parts Fruity, a prototype support unit developed for G-Parts experimentation within the TR project. Like its predecessor, the Fruity 2 serves as a reinforcement unit for Titan's mobile suits, particularly those of the TR-6 series, and by extension, Earth Federation Forces machines. In addition to its role as a reinforcement unit, the Fruity 2 incorporates a hub joint mechanism that allows it to operate super heavy equipment such as the gigantic arm units through a drum frame system. Its design replicates the key functions of the original Fruity by integrating various TR project enhancement components. At its core is a cockpit block built from standard TR-6 components such as the Primrose 2, a boost pod, a groin-mounted subarm, and shoulder-mounted drum frame units equipped with thrusters. Being a further development of the Hyzenthlay, which was considered the ultimate perfected version of the Hazel, it featured combat abilities that surpassed most machines, even those among the TR series. Ooh boy, that last take, that took a lot out of me. But it won't stop me from telling you just how amazing this variant is. The Hyzenthlay Ra 2 is just great, and I love it. There is a version with the TR2 Bigwigs cannon, but I don't want to talk about the TR2 Bigwig until the next video. This has been a lot, alright? It took me several months to complete this video because of the amount it takes and because of everything else I needed to do to get it ready to ship out. And I'll go over that in this next segment. Addendum. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the addendum section. I'm not going to cut around my uhs and ums and my stuttering like I did for most of the video, because I'm tired, and because this section is supposed to be somewhat raw. So, yes, this video has taken a long time, I know, I've been gone a while, shut up. But in all seriousness, the main reason was graduation and the other one was procrastination. I have a habit of trying to cut up arduous tasks into the smallest bite-sized pieces I possibly can and doing them week by week, by month. So when graduation hit and I was taking on this video and I found out just how effort intense it was going to be, I referred back to my good old friend, procrastinating and doing it little by little. So, of course, the TR2 video, it's going much smoother. I'm working on it right now, actually. So it should be out at some point before, let's say, August 10th. Yeah, August 10th seems fair. So, I'm not going to make this too long, but I wanted to thank you all for watching. Yeah, this video has been a long time coming. It's been a while in the making. And yeah, it's been tough for me, just a little bit, just a little tough. I am fine. I can continue to make videos. But I certainly, I was questioning this whole YouTube thing at times. But I'm back, and I'm in it to win it now. As always, thank you all for watching. Believe in the sign of the Zeta and be nice to each other. I have been Hyzenthlay. Thank you for watching.